You know that moment when you realize you're not just invisible in your own family, you're actually a ghost haunting your own life? Well, I discovered this delightful truth on my 35th birthday, when my mother-in-law decided to throw me a surprise party. And by surprise party, I mean she surprised me by making sure I was the only one not invited to my own celebration. Picture this. I'm sitting in my kitchen at 7 p.m. on my birthday, wearing the dress I bought specifically for the occasion, a gorgeous navy blue number that actually made me feel confident for once. The table is set for 8 people, complete with the good china my grandmother left me, candles flickering like tiny beacons of hope, and a homemade lasagna that took me 3 hours to perfect. 3 hours? I even hand-grated the cheese because apparently, I thought I was auditioning for some domestic goddess reality show. My husband Jake had texted me at 6:30. "Mom's running late, start without us." Classic Jake. Always speaking for his mother like she's some kind of royal delegation that requires advance notice and formal announcements. I should have known something was fishy when he used us instead of her. But hey, optimism was always my fatal flaw. So, there I am, sitting alone with enough food to feed a small army, watching my beautifully planned evening dissolve faster than my mascara when I cry. The lasagna is getting cold, the candles are creating more wax than ambiance, and I'm starting to feel like the star of my own tragic one-woman show titled, "How to Celebrate Your Birthday in Complete Solitude." At 7:45, my phone buzzes. It's Jake again. "Mom found this amazing Italian place downtown. We're already here. Don't wait up. Don't wait up. Don't wait up." I'm sorry, but when did my birthday dinner become a casual suggestion rather than, oh, I don't know, the entire point of the evening? I stare at the text for a full minute, wondering if I'm having some kind of mental breakdown where I'm misreading basic English. But no, it's right there in black and white. My husband is out having dinner with his mother on my birthday, and I'm sitting here like some kind of birthday orphan, contemplating whether it's socially acceptable to eat an entire lasagna by myself. The best part? And by best, I mean the part that made me question my life choices so hard I could practically hear my college friends saying, "I told you so," from 3 states away. Martha, that's my mother-in-law, though I'm pretty sure her real name is Satan's administrative assistant, had specifically told me she was excited about my little dinner party. Little dinner party. Like I was some child playing house instead of a grown woman celebrating another year of surviving her son's emotional unavailability. I grab my phone and scroll through Instagram, because apparently, I'm a masochist who enjoys watching other people live their best lives while I'm having my worst. And there it is, Martha's story, posted 20 minutes ago. A perfectly plated osso buco at Romano's, the most expensive Italian restaurant in town, with the caption, "Birthday celebrations with my favorite boy. My favorite boy. My husband. On my birthday." I screenshotted immediately. Not because I'm planning anything dramatic, but because I need evidence that this actually happened. That I'm not losing my mind. That my mother-in-law really did just post about celebrating my birthday without me. With my husband. While I'm sitting here like the world's most pathetic dinner party host. The irony is so thick you could cut it with the knife I'm currently using to aggressively slice pieces of my abandoned birthday cake. You know what's funny? I actually defended Martha last month when my sister called her manipulative. I said she was just old-fashioned and set in her ways. I was so naive, I probably would have defended a serial killer if they brought cookies to family gatherings. But here's the thing about being blindsided by your own family. It gives you a certain clarity. Like when you're in a car accident and everything suddenly moves in slow motion, except instead of seeing your life flash before your eyes, you see all the red flags you ignored flashing in neon. The way Martha always forgot to include me in family photos. How she consistently mispronounced my name for the first 3 years of my marriage. It's Sarah, not Sandra, not Susan, not Jake's wife. Though I'm starting to think that last one might be my actual legal name in her mind. The way she'd compliment my cooking by saying things like, "Well, this is interesting," or "I've never seen lasagna made quite like this before." Us and Jake? Sweet, oblivious Jake. who somehow never noticed that his mother treated me like a temporary inconvenience rather than a permanent family member. The same Jake who was currently out there, probably nodding along as Martha explained why my birthday dinner wasn't really necessary since we could celebrate any time. I take a bite of my lukewarm lasagna, which, for the record, is actually delicious, thank you very much, and realize I'm not even angry anymore. I'm something far more dangerous. I'm entertained. Because this situation is so absurd, so perfectly ridiculous, that it's almost impressive in its audacity. My mother-in-law sabotaged my birthday, convinced my husband to abandon me for Italian food, and then broadcast their dinner date on social media like some kind of twisted mother-son romantic comedy. If this were happening to anyone else, I'd probably laugh until I cried. Actually, you know what? I think I will. So here's where it gets really fun. And by fun, I mean the kind of fun you have when you're watching your life become a cautionary tale that other women will whisper about at book clubs. The next morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls from my sister Lisa, who apparently saw Martha's Instagram story and decided to conduct her own investigation. Lisa, bless her heart, has the subtlety of a fire alarm and the protective instincts of a mama bear who just discovered someone stole her cub's picnic basket. Please tell me you didn't actually let them do this to you, she says before I can even say hello. Good morning to you too, sis. And define let them. Sarah, I'm looking at a photo of your husband and his mother at a restaurant on your birthday while you… What? Sat at home like some kind of forgotten houseplant? I glance around my kitchen, which still looks like a crime scene from last night's abandoned dinner party. Hey, houseplants get watered occasionally. I'm more like decorative gravel. This isn't funny. Oh, it's hilarious. I'm practically a walking punchline at this point. But Lisa's right, of course. It's not funny. It's pathetic. And what makes it worse is that this isn't even the first time Martha has pulled something like this. There was my graduation party that somehow became a celebration of Jake's promotion. My housewarming party that turned into a showcase for Martha's interior design opinions. My baby shower that, well, we don't talk about the baby shower incident. Mostly because there was no baby and Martha made sure everyone knew it was premature to be planning for children we might not even have. The pattern is so clear now, I'm amazed I didn't see it before. Martha doesn't just dislike me, she's actively working to erase me from family narratives. I'm like a person-shaped inconvenience that keeps showing up in her son's life, and she's determined to edit me out of the story. Jake finally comes home around noon, looking like he's been hit by a truck full of guilt. His hair is disheveled, his shirt is wrinkled, and he's carrying a gas station bouquet that screams, I realized I messed up somewhere between mile marker 47 and the exit ramp. Hey babe, he says, and I can practically hear the italics in his voice. I brought you flowers. How thoughtful. Are they from the same place you bought your backbone? He winces. Look, I know you're upset. Upset? Jake, I'm not upset. Upset is when you forget to record my show or eat the last yogurt. This is something else entirely. Mom was just really insistent about trying this new place, and you know how she gets when she has an idea. Right, because God forbid Martha doesn't get her way. What's next? Are you going to skip our anniversary because she wants to go furniture shopping? The silence that follows is so long, I start to wonder if he's actually considering it. That's not the same thing, he finally says. Isn't it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like your mother snapped her fingers and you came running, leaving me alone on my birthday like some kind of social leper. You're being dramatic. Ah, there it is. The word that every woman loves to hear when she's expressing legitimate frustration. Dramatic. The universal male response to female emotions, roughly translated as, your feelings are inconvenient for me right now. You know what would be dramatic, Jake? If I had thrown a tantrum. If I had called your mother and screamed at her. If I had shown up at the restaurant and made a scene. But I didn't. I sat here, alone, eating birthday cake, and wondering when I became so insignificant in my own life that missing my own birthday dinner was apparently no big deal. He sets the flowers on the counter like they're evidence in a trial. Mom said you probably wouldn't mind since you're not really a big celebration person. She said what now? You know, How you're always saying parties are too much work and you prefer quiet evenings. I stare at him, wondering if this is what having a stroke feels like. Jake, I spent 3 hours making dinner for 8 people. I bought a new dress. I set the table with my grandmother's china. Does that sound like someone who doesn't want to celebrate? He has the decency to look confused. But Mom said, I don't care what Mom said. I care what your wife, remember me? Sarah? The person you married and promised to prioritize? I care what I said. And I said I wanted to celebrate my birthday with my family. She is family. And so am I. Or at least I thought I was. This is the moment when I realize that Jake doesn't just have a mother problem, he has a wife problem. Specifically, he has a problem recognizing that I am his wife. In his mind, I'm still the girlfriend who can be rescheduled, postponed, or forgotten entirely when something more important comes up. And apparently, Martha's dinner preferences are more important than my birthday. Look, he says, running his hands through his hair, I'll make it up to you. We can go out this weekend, just the two of us. This weekend, to make up for my birthday, which was yesterday. Well, yeah, I laugh, but it's the kind of laugh that makes people nervous. That's like saying you'll make up for missing Christmas by celebrating it in February. The moment is gone, Jake. You can't reschedule sentiment. You're making this bigger than it needs to be. Am I? Because from where I'm standing, this is exactly as big as it needs to be. Your mother sabotaged my birthday, you chose her over me, and now you're acting like I'm the problem for being hurt about it. He opens his mouth to respond, but I hold up my hand. Don't. Just don't. I need some time to think about this. Think about what? About whether I'm married to you or to your mother, because right now I honestly can't tell the difference. You know what's funny about rock bottom? It's surprisingly comfortable once you get used to it. There's something almost liberating about having your expectations so thoroughly demolished that you can't possibly be disappointed anymore. It's like emotional bankruptcy. Sure, it sucks, but at least you know where you stand. So I do what any rational person would do when their husband chooses his mother over them. I make a spreadsheet. I'm not kidding. I actually create a detailed Excel document titled Martha's Greatest Hits, a comprehensive analysis of family sabotage, 2019-2024. It's color-coded and everything. Green for mildly annoying, yellow for significantly problematic, and red for what the hell is wrong with this woman? The birthday disaster is definitely red. But as I'm scrolling through 5 years of documented Martha moments, I start to notice something interesting. This isn't random chaos. It's strategic warfare. Every incident follows the same pattern. Martha identifies an important moment in my life, finds a way to insert herself into it, and then somehow makes herself the star of the show while I become the supporting character in my own story. Take our wedding, for instance. Martha accidentally wore white to the ceremony, then spent the entire reception telling people about how difficult it was to let go of her son. She gave a speech, uninvited, about how Jake would always be her little boy, and how she hoped his new wife would understand that their bond was special. At the time, I thought it was just awkward. Now I realize it was a declaration of war. Or there was the time I got promoted to senior marketing manager at my company. I was so excited to share the news at family dinner, but Martha had coincidentally chosen that exact evening to announce that she was taking pottery classes and had made Jake an ashtray, for my non-smoking husband. But somehow, her ceramic hobby became the main topic of conversation, while my career milestone got exactly 3 seconds of acknowledgement. The more I think about it, the more I realize that Martha doesn't just compete with me, she actively works to diminish me. It's like she's running some kind of psychological experiment to see how small she can make me feel before I disappear entirely. Well, congratulations, Martha. You've succeeded. I do feel small. I feel invisible. I feel like the human equivalent of background music, technically present, but completely ignorable. But here's the thing about being invisible. People stop watching you. They stop expecting things from you. They stop predicting your moves. And that, my dear mother-in-law, is going to be your biggest mistake. I spend the next 3 days in what I call research mode. I study Martha's social media like I'm working for the FBI. I analyze her patterns, her friends, her schedule, her favorite restaurants. I even sign up for a pottery class at the community center, not because I have any interest in clay, but because I want to understand how her mind works. The pottery teacher, a sweet woman named Diane, mentions that Martha drops Jake's name constantly. My son this, my son that. You'd think she was married to him instead of his mother, Diane says with a laugh that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Poor Jake's wife, whoever she is. Poor Jake's wife. That's me. I'm the poor wife that other middle-aged women pity at pottery class. But you know what? I'm done being poor Jake's wife. I'm done being the woman who gets left behind, talked over, and forgotten. I'm done being the supporting character in my own life. I start making phone calls. First, to my college roommate Michelle, who works in public relations and has what she calls a gift for strategic communications. Then to my cousin David, who's a divorce lawyer. Just for information, I tell myself, not because I'm planning anything. Finally, to my old boss Patricia, who once told me I had a brilliant mind for marketing and that I should never let anyone make me feel small. Sarah? Patricia sounds surprised to hear from me. How are you, honey? I'm planning a comeback, I tell her, and I can practically hear her smiling through the phone. Good. It's about time. The plan starts to take shape slowly, like a photograph developing in a darkroom. It's not about revenge. That's too messy, too emotional. This is about restoration, about reclaiming my place in my own life, about making sure that Martha's next attempt at family manipulation backfires so spectacularly that she'll think twice before trying it again. The beauty of my plan is its simplicity. Martha's weakness isn't that she's mean, it's that she's predictable. She can't resist being the center of attention, especially when it makes her look like the perfect mother. And like any good marketer, I'm going to give her exactly what she wants, right up until the moment I take it away. Jake has no idea what's happening, of course. He's been tiptoeing around me for days, bringing me coffee in the morning and asking if I need anything, like I'm some kind of wounded bird he's trying to nurse back to health. It's sweet, in a pathetic sort of way, but it's also too little, too late. Are you feeling better? He asks on Thursday morning, as if my legitimate anger about being abandoned on my birthday was some kind of temporary illness. Much better, I tell him, and I mean it. Actually, I have an idea. What if we threw a party for your mom's birthday next month? Really go all out, make it special. His face lights up like I've just suggested we adopt a puppy. Really? You'd do that? Of course. After all, family is important, right? And I think it's time Martha and I had a real heart-to-heart about our relationship. That's amazing, Sarah. Mom's going to love that. Oh, she's going to love it all right. She's going to love it right up until she realizes that I'm not the pushover she thought I was. But that's the thing about underestimating people. Eventually, they surprise you. And Martha's about to get the surprise of her life. Martha's 68th birthday party is going to be perfect. And by perfect, I mean it's going to be the kind of event that people talk about for years, though probably not for the reasons Martha expects. The planning process is a masterclass in strategic manipulation. I channel my inner event coordinator, the one who used to organize corporate retreats and charity galas before I got so busy being the invisible wife that I forgot I had actual skills. First, I choose the venue, the Rosewood Country Club, where Martha volunteers and where half her social circle spends their Thursday afternoons playing bridge. It's expensive, prestigious, and exactly the kind of place where Martha loves to hold court. Perfect. Next, I design the invitations. Elegant, cream-colored cardstock with gold embossing that reads, "Join us for an evening celebrating Martha Henderson's 68th birthday. A life well lived, a family well loved." I send them to everyone in Martha's social circle, plus all the extended family members she's spent years complaining about to me. The secret ingredient? I include a small insert card that reads, "Sarah Henderson requests the pleasure of your company for a special presentation honoring her mother-in-law's many contributions to our family. Most people won't think twice about it, but Martha will notice. She'll notice that I'm hosting her party, that my name is on the invitation, and that I'm positioning myself as the dutiful daughter-in-law who wants to honor her. She'll be so flattered by the attention that she won't question why I'm suddenly being so generous. Jake, meanwhile, is practically glowing with pride. "I can't believe you're doing all this for Mom," he says, watching me arrange catering consultations and florist appointments. "This is incredible." "Well, she's family," I reply, and I swear I can hear the universe laughing. The week of the party, I go into full production mode. I coordinate with the photographer, Martha loves being photographed, arrange for a videographer to capture her speech, she always gives speeches, and even hire a small jazz ensemble because Martha once mentioned she met Jake's father at a jazz club in 1976, but the pièce de résistance is the slideshow. I spend hours creating what I call Martha Through the Years, a life in pictures. It's a beautiful tribute, full of photos from her childhood, her wedding, Jake's birth, family vacations, holidays, a comprehensive visual history of a woman who clearly loves being the center of attention. The photos are lovely. The captions, however, are where things get interesting. For example, there's a photo from our wedding where Martha is very clearly upstaging me in her white dress. The caption reads, "Martha celebrates her son's wedding, 2019. She wanted to make sure everyone knew how hard it was to let go of her little boy." Or the photo from Jake's college graduation, where Martha is holding his diploma like she earned it herself. Caption, "Martha proudly displays Jake's degree. She always said his success was really her success." My personal favorite is a photo from last Christmas, where Martha is opening presents while I'm barely visible in the background, cleaning up wrapping paper. Caption, "Martha enjoys Christmas morning while Sarah ensures everything runs smoothly. Some people open gifts, others make them possible." The captions are subtle enough that casual observers might not notice the subtext, but anyone who's been paying attention to family dynamics will understand exactly what they're seeing. I also prepare a short speech of my own. It's heartfelt, grateful, and absolutely devastating. The night of the party, Martha arrives looking like she's ready for her close-up. She's wearing a royal blue dress that probably cost more than my car payment, and she's practically glowing with anticipation. This is her night, her moment, her chance to be celebrated by everyone who matters to her. "Sarah, darling," she says, kissing my cheek like we're the best of friends. "This is absolutely beautiful. I can't believe you did all this." "It was my pleasure," I reply, "and I mean it. After all, you've given me so much inspiration over the years. The party itself is flawless. The food is exquisite, the music is perfect, and Martha is in her element, working the room like a politician at a campaign rally. She tells everyone who will listen about how surprised she is by my thoughtfulness, how she never expected me to do something so elaborate. Sarah's really outdone herself, she says to her bridge club friends, and I can practically hear the condescension dripping from her voice. I mean, I didn't think she had it in her. Perfect. She's walking right into it. At 8 o'clock, I dim the lights and call for everyone's attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. We're here tonight to celebrate Martha Henderson, and I'd like to share a few words about the woman who has been such a influential presence in my life." The room falls silent. Martha beams at me from her place of honor at the head table, surrounded by her family and friends. Jake squeezes my hand proudly. Everyone is watching, waiting, expecting the typical daughter-in-law tribute. "Martha," I begin, "you've taught me so much about family dynamics, about the importance of making your presence known, about never letting anyone else take center stage when you could be performing instead." A few people chuckle, thinking I'm being charming. "You've shown me that love isn't about stepping back and letting others shine. It's about making sure everyone knows exactly how much you care, even if it means overshadowing the people you're supposed to be supporting." Martha's smile is starting to look a little strained. "You've demonstrated that a mother's love for her son doesn't diminish when he gets married. It just becomes more creative in its expression, more territorial, more determined to maintain the status quo." The room is getting quieter. People are starting to sense that something's not quite right. And you've taught me that when someone consistently shows you who they are, you should believe them. The first time, the second time, And especially the 37th time, when they sabotage your birthday dinner to take your husband out for osso buco. Now there's complete silence. Martha's face has gone pale, and Jake is looking at me like I've just set the table on fire. So thank you, Martha. Thank you for teaching me that family isn't about blood or marriage certificates. It's about respect, consideration, and basic human decency. And thank you for showing me that sometimes the most important lesson someone can teach you is what not to become. I raise my glass. To Martha Henderson, everyone. A woman who has never let anyone else's happiness get in the way of her own priorities. Cheers. The silence that follows is so complete, you could hear a pin drop. Martha is staring at me like I've just grown a second head, and Jake looks like he's having some kind of medical emergency. But you know what? I feel amazing. For the first time in years, I feel like myself again. I feel visible, powerful, and completely, utterly done with being treated like a supporting character in my own life. Now, I say, setting down my glass, let's watch the slideshow. The aftermath of Martha's birthday party is what I like to call the Great Family Reckoning of 2024. It's been 3 months since what Jake now refers to as the incident, as if I had some kind of diplomatic accident instead of simply telling the truth, and the fallout has been more entertaining than a reality TV show. Martha, predictably, played the victim card so hard she practically wore it out. For 2 weeks, she called everyone she knew to complain about my unprovoked attack and how I had humiliated her in front of her friends. The irony of her complaining about being humiliated was apparently lost on her, but then again, self-awareness was never Martha's strong suit. Jake went through the 5 stages of grief in record time. First came denial. You didn't mean it like that, right? It was just a joke that went too far. Then anger. How could you do that to my mother? She's 68 years old. Bargaining followed. If you apologize, maybe we can fix this. Depression hit when he realized I wasn't going to apologize for anything. And finally, acceptance. Though his version of acceptance looks suspiciously like a man who's just realized he's been living in a house of cards for 5 years. The best part? Martha's friends have been calling me nonstop. Apparently, my little speech resonated with more people than I expected. Turns out, Martha's Bridge Club has been dealing with their own versions of family drama, and watching someone finally stand up to the group's resident queen bee was better than cable television. I've been married to Harold for 42 years, said Betty Morrison, Martha's longtime bridge partner, and his mother pulled the same garbage until the day she died. Good for you, honey. Someone needed to say it. Even more shocking, Jake's cousins have been reaching out to share their own Martha stories. Apparently, I'm not the only one who's been subjected to her special brand of family management. His cousin Lisa told me about how Martha accidentally scheduled a family barbecue on the same day as Lisa's daughter's graduation party, for the 3rd year in a row. His cousin Mark shared how Martha always managed to monopolize conversations at family gatherings, turning every topic back to Jake and his achievements. We used to joke that Martha thought she gave birth to the second coming of Christ, Mark told me over coffee last week, but it stopped being funny when we realized she was serious. The most interesting development has been Jake's slow awakening to reality. It's like watching someone discover that they've been living in a sitcom for 35 years. He started noticing things. How Martha interrupts me when I'm talking, how she dismisses my opinions, how she always seems to have a crisis that requires his immediate attention whenever we make plans. I didn't realize, he said to me last night, and I could see the genuine confusion in his eyes. I thought she was just involved. Involved is helping with wedding planning, I replied. What your mother does is called emotional hostage-taking. We're in marriage counseling now, which was my condition for not filing for divorce. Dr. Patricia Rosen is a no-nonsense therapist who specializes in family dynamics, and she's been having a field day with our situation. Sarah, she said during our 3rd session, you've been living in what I call a triangulated marriage. Not instead of a partnership between 2 people, you've been part of a 3-way dynamic where your husband's primary relationship is with his mother, and you're the 3rd wheel. Jake looked like he wanted to argue, but Dr. Rosen held up her hand. Jake, I want you to think about this. When you make decisions, whose feelings do you consider first? When there's a conflict, who do you try to protect? When you have good news, who do you call first? The silence that followed was deafening. Martha, meanwhile, has been trying to stage a comeback. She's been sending me articles about family forgiveness and healing old wounds, which is rich coming from someone who's been systematically wounding me for half a decade. She even sent me a card last week that said, "Sometimes we say things we don't mean when we're emotional." I sent it back with a note. "You're right. I'm sorry I waited so long to say what I meant. The truth is, I'm not angry anymore. I'm something much more dangerous. I'm amused." Martha's attempts to regain control of the narrative are so transparent, so predictable, that they're almost endearing. It's like watching a magician whose tricks you've already figured out. But the real victory isn't in Martha's diminished influence or Jake's growing awareness. It's in the fact that I remember who I am now. I'm not the invisible woman who gets left behind at birthday dinners. I'm not the supporting character in someone else's story. I'm Sarah Henderson, and I'm perfectly capable of writing my own script. I've started freelancing again, doing marketing consulting for small businesses. I've reconnected with old friends who I lost touch with during my years of trying to be the perfect daughter-in-law. I've even started taking pottery classes. Not to understand Martha, but because I actually enjoy working with clay. Yesterday I made a beautiful blue bowl that's slightly imperfect around the edges. It's not symmetrical, it's not polished, and it's definitely not what anyone would call professionally made. But it's mine, and it's exactly what I wanted to create. Kind of like my life now. Jake asked me the other day if I regret the party, if I wish I'd handled things differently. I thought about it for a long time before answering. Do I regret finally telling the truth about our family dynamics? No. Do I regret waiting 5 years to do it? Absolutely. What happens now? He asked. Now we figure out if we can build a marriage without a third party. If you can learn to put your wife before your mother. If we can create something real instead of just going through the motions. And if we can't? I smiled at him, the same smile I used to give Martha when she was being particularly condescending. Then at least I'll know I tried. And I'll know I'm not willing to settle for being invisible anymore. As for Martha, she's been suspiciously quiet lately. No impromptu dinner invitations, no last-minute emergencies that require Jake's immediate attention, no social media posts about her favorite boy. I suspect she's regrouping, planning her next move, trying to figure out how to regain the upper hand. But here's the thing she doesn't understand. I'm not the same person who used to sit quietly while she held court. I'm not the woman who would smile and nod while being systematically erased from family photos and family memories. I'm the woman who threw a birthday party so perfect that it destroyed someone's entire worldview. I'm the woman who turned a celebration into a revolution. I'm the woman who finally figured out that the best revenge isn't getting even. It's becoming so comfortable with yourself that other people's manipulation tactics bounce off you like raindrops on a windshield. So bring it on, Martha. I've got a whole arsenal of truth, a newfound appreciation for my own worth, and absolutely nothing left to lose. In the end, family isn't about who gave birth to whom or who signed what marriage certificate. It's about who shows up, who pays attention, and who treats you like you matter. And if that's the standard we're using, then I'm finally surrounded by the right people. The rest? Well, they're just background noise in someone else's story now.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.